Hey, it's Steve from Samori again. Last video that we produced, we introduced our new tool, RECON Imager, which is a Mac-based imager, and it also includes all versions of Paladin that will come with Paladin Pro. So it's a quintuple boot system. What we're going to show you in this video is how to boot it on a Mac. And what I happen to have in front of me here is a MacBook Pro 2016 edition with the touch bar. And as we know, it has the USB-C ports or the Thunderbolt 3. So I am going to recommend at this point in time that you use a high quality adapter. So I'm just going to use the ones that come from Apple for this particular video. Be careful with the adapters that you use. Some adapters have actually been known to cause shorts in the system. That's something you don't want to do on a machine that you're working on. It's not yours. So what I'm going to do in this video is take this Apple adapter, which has a spot for the USB 3.0 here. And I have this actually RECON Imager, which is USB 3.0 as well. Plug that in together and connect it to one of the Thunderbolt 3 ports. Now this is very important, okay? Macs have the ability to have a firmware password enabled. So the user can actually enable a firmware password which prevents anything else from booting. So the only key that you're going to know and it's going to work if a firmware password enabled is the Alt or Option key. So for us in the US, it's the Option key. For the rest of the world, it's going to be the Alt key. So just look for the Alt and Option key. You're going to hold this down and start the system, okay? When the system starts, you'll be presented with either a lock, which means a firmware password is enabled. At that point in time, stop, give me a call, I'll help you out if you don't know what to do. Or you're going to be presented with boot options as you see here. So we have several boot options that you can choose from. Obviously, the Macintosh hard disk is going to be to boot the Mac, which we don't want to do. The other option here says Efi Boot, and it has the Paladin symbol in it. That is for booting Paladin, okay? When you hit that, you'll have 3 different versions of Paladin on there that you can choose from, all for different types of hardware. So not only does this work on Macs, it also works on PCs, tablets, Surface Books, all those kind of different devices. The next one over you see here is the RECON Imager. It says default. Default is for pretty much everything else other than the newer MacBooks that have just been out, the ones with the touch bars. Okay, so since this is the newer MacBook, I'm going to go over and select RECON Imager newer Macs, and I'm going to boot from here. Okay, if you get an Apple logo and a little progress bar underneath, you know everything's good. This is based on Mac OS and it's been modified so it doesn't make any writes to the system. So we're gonna let this thing boot and we'll come back in a second. It takes about a minute or two depending on the system, and then we'll introduce the interface with you. Hey, we're back and it's booted and we're gonna go through the interface. The first button I want to show you here is just obviously the license agreement. It's there if you ever care to read this. I know everybody reads the license agreement, right? So now let's switch over here to Disk Manager. This is usually where you're going to start. And again, in future videos, we'll go over this in more detail, but I just want to explain what the interface does. So this interface right here is going to show you all the attached disks. Whether they're external or internal, you can use RECON Imager to do all. Okay, we've also added colors to easily identify core storage volumes, which you know on modern Macs, everything is now core storage. Even if it's not a Fusion disk, it's going to be a core storage device. So right here, this yellow one right here is the actual the user drive, the inside, the actual one that stores the data that's been interpreted from this disk right here. So we see disk 0/2. So right here it says derived from. That's the actual disk with all the data. You can still image the physical, which you see right here. That's always an option. We're not taking it away from you, we're just giving you more options here. If you want to go straight to the data already interpreted by core storage, we're going to select this volume here. We also have the bottom down here to refresh drives if it doesn't automatically refresh for you when you plug in a new device, such as your destination drive. You also have the ability to, right here, as you can see, let me grab one of these disks, my destination drive. We have format options for you. So we have the ability to enter a label for the volume name, and you have 2 choices here. HFS Plus, which is macOS Extended, or exFAT. That's it. That's all you're getting. If you've ever taken training from us, you'll know that it's important to do copies of data from Mac to Mac. In this situation, you're fine because it's an image file. However, if you're doing logical copies, we have to worry about extended metadata. We can talk about that later. The other option is exFAT. So if you happen, your Windows users out there want to use this, and you want to make a decrypted image of FileVault, or you want to just make an image to put into a Windows forensics tool, but again, talk to me about that. You can put this in any tool you want. So I want to close this down right now and switch over to Disk Imager. That's what most people are purchasing for, hence the name. So right here, when you switch over, we're going to hit the refresh button to make sure that any changes that you've done in Disk Manager actually take effect. From here, we're going to select our source. So again, we can select the disk, the physical disk itself, or we can do the interpreted disk, the one that's actually interpreted already by core storage. So we'll select this one right here. Your image types, very simple. We have DD for a raw image. You have EO1s, your EXO1s. You have your smart images, and then you have your DMG images, okay, for, again, mounting in a Mac or using one of our tools like RECON for Mac OS X. All right, and then we're going to choose our destination drive. So once you have that, it's pretty simple. You enter your label. If you want to segment this, you can, and just click Start, and then it'll go ahead and image for you. We also have included a RAM imager for you. Again, I'll refresh here just in case any changes have been applied previously by the user. And we can select the destination drive. It's very simple. Give it a name and press Start. That's it, okay? The hopes with the RAM imager is actually to get any previous content from previous boot sessions. Since we're in our own environment right now, we don't need an admin password. So you will not be prompted for a password. Keep in mind, we're not magicians. We can only get what's left over from the previous session from either a shutdown, either a full shutdown or a reboot, and then you can go through this and carve it. So the last and final thing is the shutdown button. That's it. You click shutdown and ask if you want to shut down, and we're going to say, yep, sure, shut down. And that's it, you're done. And that's our quick overview of RECON Imager, just the interface. Again, stay tuned to our channel for more tutorials on using RECON Imager and other products, and thanks for watching.